Good afternoon. I'd like to call the order of the June 12th, 2019 meeting of LaPorte County Sheriff's Merit Board. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Mock, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from last month? Are there any corrections to the minutes? Can I have a motion to approve as submitted? Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion second. Any questions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. We need to have these scholarships more often.
I know.
This is odd. I'm assuming that's why you opened up the other half of the room and
Yes.
anticipating an overflow and buses coming in and
Yes,
all this.
exactly.
We're very, very pleased to see the young people here that are going to be recipients. And so without further ado, Sheriff, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, great. Thank you. I'm going to make a suggestion that we move item number 13 to the top of the list for the interest of some of these young people are working. They have things that they have to do, so we can get them in and we can get their families out as well. However, before we do that, I'd like to just take a moment and then have a moment of silence for Kevin Galloway that was tragically killed on May 24th. As you may know, Kevin was a member of the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office. He worked for us from 1991 through 1993 and then went on to the Indiana State Police where he had about a 9-year career with them. Kevin previously, prior to coming to the Sheriff's Office, worked for the Westville Police Department. He was a lifelong resident of LaPorte County, and he's going to be sorely missed. And, we're just heart-sickened by the fact that Kevin was taken from us at such an early age. He was tragically killed in a crash along the Indiana Toll Road near I-65 in Lake County, and it just it shocked us all. Kevin left law enforcement so he could pursue his lifelong dream of getting into the ministry. He did great work and was in the musical ministry as well. He worked a lot with youth, and he's just an irreplaceable person. We certainly have our thoughts and our prayers with Davina and their entire family. And again, it's just a tragedy. So if we could have just a moment of silence and remembrance of Kevin Galloway. Thank you. So if we could skip forward in the agenda to item number 13, and then we'll come back. The 2019 Neil Thompson scholarships have been awarded, and most of the recipients are here to receive their awards. We're very pleased that we're able to keep the memory of Neil Thompson, who was tragically killed in the line of duty September 21st, 1980, alive. And we're able to do this through a number of different mechanisms, but perhaps one of the best ways of perpetuating Neil's memory is through the lives of these young people. And we're really proud of you. We're really pleased that you're here with your families today as well. And I hope that you take a moment to reflect the importance of this scholarship and what it means. And through the tragic death of Deputy Thompson, you were able to realize this scholarship. It's something that's very important to his family. And every year we receive word from the family that they hear about the successes of these young people and that his memory is kept alive through this. Many of you, all of you, were not born. Some of us were born then. Some of your parents weren't even born. And I never had the privilege of meeting Neil Thompson. Former Sheriff Mike Mollenauer is here today, and he worked with Neil Thompson, and he joins us every year on September 21st at the gravesite of Neil Thompson, and we share stories and fellowship, and then we go to breakfast and have a meal afterwards, and we think about the importance of that day. But we're really pleased that this scholarship has been kept alive through every sheriff since Jan Rose back in 1980, when he was killed. So with that being said, would like to introduce the young people and would like to have them come up one at a time, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, although with that said, we are going to put you on the spot, and we would like you to say a few words to the Merit Commission, and would merely like you to report what you're going to be doing next year, where you're going to be going to school, and then we'd like an opportunity to get a picture of all the recipients together as a group. So once all of them have come forward, then we'll get a picture, and and Captain Allen will do that. So the first person that we would like to introduce to the Merit Commission is Tyler Ben. Tyler is the son of Sam Ben, who works in our garage. Tyler, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And if you could step over here, and here is your certificate and your check as well. And I'm really proud to announce to the Merit Commission, they probably know this, but you were the valedictorian of LaPorte High School, and you had a graduating class of 450.
Around that number, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
That's great. So if you'd like to say a few words to the Merit Commission.
Well, I'd like to thank the Merit Commission for the scholarship very much. It means a whole lot to me just to be able to continue my education at Purdue University next year, and I'll be studying aerospace engineering.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The next recipient is the son of Deputy Corey Chavez, Gabriel Chavez. Gabriel, if you could come forward. Congratulations. We're very proud of you. There you go.
All right. I just want to thank the Commission very much for this. It means a lot. I'm going to continue my education through IUSB, major in history and minor in secondary teaching. Support myself becoming a high school teacher, and then continue my education for my master's program in archaeology. Thank you.
Gabriel's got $1 million smile, doesn't he?
And I saw his shirt, and I was hoping he was going to have a matching one like I had, but we'll work on that.
I support
Our next recipient is Cedric McCoy, the son of Marvin McCoy. Cedric, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'd like to thank the Merit Board for this opportunity to receive the scholarship. In the fall, I will be attending IUSB and majoring in music education. My goal is to become a band director and affect youths worldwide, or at least wherever my reach is with music. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Our next recipient is Riley Ott, who is the daughter of Captain Al Ott. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very proud of you, too.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Merit Board for allowing me to have this scholarship, and I will be attending the University of Purdue Fort Wayne, and I will be studying actuarial science and playing basketball as well.
Okay. Fantastic. Our next recipient is Catherine Doporowski, and I'd like to point out that Catherine was the essay award winner, but she comes from a great law enforcement heritage. Her brothers, both deputies with the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office, Evan and Ryan Doporowski. Her father, Tom Doporowski, is a retired member of the Michigan City Police Department, and her aunt Nora is a retired sergeant with the Indiana State Police. So law enforcement runs in her family, and if you were at the police memorial that we had, you heard her read her essay, and it was absolutely fantastic. She's very well deserving of this award.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. In the fall, I will be attending IU Northwest studying criminal justice, and I plan to run on their cross-country team.
And in 4 years, come see us for an application because we're hiring. Megan Boyd is not here. She is currently out of state, but we'll have her here hopefully in the July meeting. I'd like to point out that we've all watched these kids grow up, and it's really neat to see them at this point. And I couldn't be more proud of a group, and I'm also proud of the parents as well, because you put a lot of hard work into this. And the successes that we see in your children are the result of your parenting. And I'm really happy for all of you, and we wish you the best of luck. If we could get the recipients to come forward so we could get some pictures, and then please feel free, if you have to leave, please do so. Don't feel as though you have to sit through the rest of the meeting. So if we could just take a minute to get those pictures.
Do you want this with me?
Yeah, sure.
Where would you like this?
Let me ask Captain Allen, where would you like this?
Probably somewhere in that. Everybody else in the background. How about against the story?
John.
Parents? Do the parents want pictures as well? Yes. Come on.
John, how much was that?
Yes. No. Corey went to, I think one of the TF schools. I thought.
Are those trash cans okay?
Nope.
They're fine. Gold is what Mark, my husband Mark, brings us up.
1, 2.
No, Gabe went to Fort High. I thought you met his dad. Yeah. No.
I was like,
And Gabe was also class vice president too. We didn't talk about that.
We can tie it.
He had a good speech at commencement too.
Major, you give him a good side.
Well, it wasn't really a speech. Gabe and Noah Perez introduced our keynote speaker at commencement. And so they did a good job there as vice president and class president, vice president. Gabe was vice president. He was. Yes, very. Not over your head type of guy at all. So it was real good.
Thanks, Sheriff. You're welcome. Thank you. Can I please cut?
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Sheriff, we also just were told that one of these recipients was also their class president.
I don't know if one of them was class president, but one of them was a valedictorian. Right. Gabe, you were vice president? Yes, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that's great.
Well, there's still a couple left here to listen to you.
Thank you for accommodating us.
Sure. Sheriff, just for the record, can you clarify the amounts that were given on this?
Yes. Let me phrase this correctly. The essay award winner, Catherine Doporowski, won an award of $1,000. The others were all awarded $1,500, and they are siblings of members of the department, and that award is $1,500. So a total of $8,500 was given out today. And currently our balance is approximately $102,000 in the Neil Thompson Scholarship Fund, so it is very solvent, and that's held at PNC Bank. Went over and did some banking this morning.
Thank you.
Deputies Tyler Oberholzer, Alex Clemens, Chet Belina, Evan Doporowski, and Derek Deck are all actively training in the field training program. Sergeant Jeff Wright has reported that all of them are doing very well. Deputies Oberholzer and Clemens are scheduled to complete their training in mid-June. Deputy Clemens will be assigned to the day shift, and Deputy Oberholzer will be assigned to the afternoon shift. Deputy Doporowski is scheduled to complete his field training in July, and Deputies Deck and Belina are scheduled to complete their training in mid-July. So we're looking forward to getting those bodies on shift so they can be out alone and help us with some of our manpower shortages and some of our overtime issues that we're having as well. But they are doing very, very well. Item number 2, you'll see that Deputy Harlan Williams has tendered his resignation, and his last day of work will be June 21st, 2019. He served the department since April of 2003. And he previously served with the Lexington, Fayette Urban County Sheriff's Office and the Indiana State Police, so he had a total of 22 years in law enforcement. He's leaving to pursue employment in the private sector, and we wish him the best of luck, and we thank him for his years of service with the Sheriff's Office. We recently purchased a field training evaluation management system, and Sergeant Jeff Wright and the field training officers have very high marks about its benefits and its ease of use. Sergeant Wright has reported that it saves him 3 to 4 hours a day, each and every day, while we have FTOs in the program, because the management system is so efficient, much more efficient than what we had before. And this time savings results in significant overtime cost for the department. And with that being said, I did talk to Sergeant Wright the other day. I noticed that he is assigned to the afternoon shift, but at least 3, maybe 4 days a week, he's in the office in the morning doing FTO type work, and he's doing that on his own. And I caution him about getting burned out, but that's the kind of dedication that he has. He just needs to get it done, and he's very happy about this management system. It's called Agency 360, and it has significantly cut the amount of time that our field training officers and he, the FTO manager, are spending on it. So it was money very, very well spent. Our newly hired probationary deputies, Kaz Billings, Austin Howell, and David Grimberg, are currently shadowing within the department, and they're going to be attending the upcoming August 5th, 2019 through the November 15th, 2019 Basic Recruit Academy, and that will be over at NILEA, the Northwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. New applicant testing is going to take place on June 20th at the training building at the fairgrounds. Physical agility will be taking place in the morning, and those that pass it will be administered the written examination in the afternoon, much as we've done before. If one of you would like to attend either session, or all of you would like to attend either session, as you know, you're welcome. If one of you would like to be there in the afternoon, specifically for the written examination testing, we'll put you to use as a proctor as well. You're welcome and encouraged to do that. I know Mr. Kimmel and Mr. Kluge, you're usually really good about attending those, and certainly you're welcome again. And Laura, we've seen you there before as well.
Sheriff, what time does the physical agility begin?
That will be
9 a.m. Thank you.
And then the written examination will be approximately 1, but sometimes when we announce if the physical agility testing goes really well and efficiently in the morning, because we have some people that are traveling a great distance to be here for that, we may decide, if we decide as a group, to move the test up, and we'll announce it to everybody that it may be moved up to about noon that day, but we certainly would let you know.
How many applicants do we have?
30.
Wow. Noon might be pushing. One might be pushing. Great. Thank you.
Item number 6, Deputy Andrew Hahn and his new canine partner, Miko, graduated from Von Lick Kennels on May 17th, and they're both assigned the midnight shift, and they're doing very well. In fact, Deputy Hahn was requested by the LaPorte Police Department about a week ago to do a vehicle search, and they had a rather substantial discovery of narcotics as a result of that search, so he was being put to use immediately. We're really pleased with those two as partners. They're doing a very nice job. We're continuing to monitor our calls for service at the Franciscan Hospital in Michigan City. We've been doing that and reporting that to you since about the 1st of February, and the calls still do not appear to be inordinate. For example, in the month of May, we responded to 5 calls at the hospital, which was 1 more than the month before. We seem to be averaging about 5 calls per month at that hospital, which again, we do not think is inordinate, and nearly all the calls that we're answering at the hospital are very legitimate calls for service. We don't have any issues with the reason that we're being called. Sometimes we're being called by hospital staff, sometimes we're being called by patients, and sometimes we're being called by visitors at the hospital. And of course, we have no recourse but to respond. I think one of the calls for service that we had in the month of May, the Michigan City Police Department actually responded because we were busy or a ways away. But nonetheless, that's about the average number of calls that we're getting up there.
They had no security there whatsoever?
They do have security. However, not all their security are police officers, and they do not have a security/police force. They're trying to move in that direction so they can handle criminal events that might happen there. But most of those calls, like any hospital, they need actually a law enforcement presence to come and take over the investigation, or at least document the incident with a report. Our calls for service department-wide increased from the month of April to May by 35%. That's a very significant increase, and that's something that we don't have any control over. We answered nearly 3,000 calls for service last month, and with summer being here, there does not seem to be a slowdown, but we are closely monitoring those calls as well. We've received a number of complaints about commercial motor vehicle traffic avoiding the detour at the US 20 at State Road 2 intersection. We're receiving these complaints about vehicles using county roads to circumvent the closure and detour. We have reached out to the Indiana State Police, and they have substantially increased their presence, and they've stopped a number of commercial vehicles that were in violations of the signs and the detours. In fact, last Friday I received an email from the commander of the Commercial Motor Vehicle Division out of the State Police Post in Lowell, and he reported to me that they actually closed the scales on I-65 and I-94 so they could send their entire contingent up here. And he reported back that after being here Friday afternoon and through Friday night, they realized that we do have a problem, and they pledged to have more motor carrier inspectors up here. But we've also been in contact with their all crimes policing unit out of Lowell. We talked to their commander, and they're going to send their task force up here as well to help us with that, because we cannot keep up with it, but also the other troopers that are assigned out of Lowell as well. And that is really going to help, because we've received complaints from people that live in the area that one specifically complained that in a 4-hour period she specifically watched, and she counted as many as 60 semis that went by her house on a county road that were circumventing that the road closure using the county roads. And so we want to make sure that the traffic is appropriate. The complaints also are that the semis are speeding and they're disregarding stop signs out there, and so we want to make sure that we've got a multi-agency response to the complaints out there, and that frees our deputies up when the state police are out here to answer their calls for service and be in other areas in the county as well. But it's something that we're watching very closely, and we're trying to do as best a job as we can to make it that a deterrent. On May 1st, we changed jail medical providers. We had been contracted with Advanced Correctional Health, which is ACH, and we changed to Quality Correctional Care, which is referred to as QCC. One of the most beneficial changes is the fact that we now have 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week nursing coverage. That transition has kept our administrative staff and Captain Ott quite busy, because we're transitioning from one medical provider to another medical provider. We did have a staff meeting yesterday, and some of our staff, our commanders, reported that they've noticed a significant increase in the medical provider coverage that we have, and they like the fact that incoming arrestees are being assessed immediately by a medical professional for their needs that they may have or needs that they may not have. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Captain Ott, but do you have anything that you want to report about the transition, or
No.
you do it at the microphone?
Sorry. Somebody would say no, huh?
Not anything that wasn't expected. You know, transition also has changed. Changes sometimes met with a little bit of opposition, I guess. But the staff, both staff, are reporting back to me, because I'm the hub for that they are appreciative of how we are transitioning. It's change. So with that being said, we're not exactly where we thought we would be right now, but that's the same feeling that QCC has. So we expect by the time the first of the year comes along, that we'll be settled in and we'll be functioning really like how we thought we would be. But it does take a little bit to get. You know, I've talked with an example. I talked with the Porter County administration in the jail over there, and they have QCC. And he just called me the other day, and he had mentioned, he said, you know, how are things going? Well, it's fine. He said, is it a mess? That was the joke. And he goes, it's a give and take. We met halfway, they meet halfway, and he said now they're 2 years into it, and he absolutely raves about the service that they're being provided. So I think at the end of the day, we made the right decision, and I'm actually looking forward to the continued service.
Thank you.
Captain, if you can, the medical staff that they have on staff now,
yes,
do they have any previous experience in a jail or a correctional facility that may be beneficial to them?
Yes. and that's part of some of the frustration. They are starting to settle in now. So we, I think, have most of them that have actually, you may know some of them from your previous, a lot of them have come from DOC. There's all these different entities, medical providers that have contracts with these different entities. So what I'm hearing is they're coming because they're hearing good things. That's refreshing to hear. So a lot of them, yes, to answer that question, have correctional experience. Really kind of an important thing, and I actually like to hear it because it's a unique environment for somebody that's gotten into the medical field. So it's not for everybody. But
they're all under contract then?
We have a contract with QCC, Quality Correctional Care, and they're employees of them.
Is it an annual thing, or?
Yeah, every year we'll review it. Yep. At this point, we have no income. We're looking for a long-term commitment with them. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And that's, Mr. Kluge, that's one of the benefits of it is that they are no longer our employees, and in fact, they're employees of QCC, which means LaPorte County government is not paying their salary or benefits. We pay a contract fee to the provider, then they in turn pay the salary and benefits of those employees. So we've actually gotten some employees off of the county coffers.
How about the liability?
They cover all the medical liability as well, which is huge. And the county attorney really likes that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
They do just real quick. To kind of expound on that, there's a lot that they do, more than just providing a medical. They have a doctor that they have a contract with, which he comes weekly. They stay until the job is done. We have a different court call, just as any other doctor's office would have. So we have that same thing here, but he's here. But with that being said, the clerical side of what they do it. And that is refreshing. As you mentioned, we have that's why the county attorneys and our county government really should appreciate what we've accomplished here, because it's their record keeping and their preparations for those things that are part of what we do. They're able to be prepared for it. It's a nice benefit to us.
Is this something strongly focused on during your annual inspection? Is the medical field?
They ask questions. There are certain things, specific things that I don't know if we need to.
And they do inspect the medical department while they're here.
There's a lot but that's all done, and it's a nice. QCC is an Indiana-based and Indiana-based only, so they're fully apprised of all the Indiana laws that they're held to.
Sure.
So that's kind of their expertise. So it's good.
In the county attorney and Captain Ott, myself, Chief Heeg, we all agree that medical decisions are being made by medical professionals, not by laymen, and not by Captain Ott, myself, and the chief and the major. Those decisions need to be made by medical professionals.
Well, yeah, and the liability associated with
absolutely
quite a plus being able to divert that.
Right. I could keep talking.
We could, yeah. But we have an increasingly sick inmate population, which is not out of the ordinary. That's true in every jail in the United States and every correctional facility. They're just getting sicker and sicker, and people aren't taking care of themselves until they come to jail, and then it manifests itself, and we're responsible for it. The next item is the fact that we did have our police memorial. We appreciate that you were in attendance to that to honor those that lay down their life in their line of duty for the people of LaPorte County. Our keynote speaker this year was Sheriff Tom Dart from Cook County, Illinois in Chicago, and I think that he was probably one of the most dynamic speakers that we've ever had. He spoke extemporaneously, and he was truly honored to be here and be a part of this, and I think the best compliment that we perhaps have ever had is that Sheriff Dart said to myself and Chief Swistek afterwards, he said that he's attended many police memorials in the Chicagoland area, including the one that they host every year at the Cook County Sheriff's Office, and he indicated that theirs was very short in duration, but he's actually asked that we help the Cook County Sheriff's Office next year put on a police memorial that is similar to what we put on, because he just felt as though we did a really nice job of honoring those that were killed here in LaPorte County. So I think that was a great compliment. May 30th, we had physical agility testing, and I'd like to thank Captain Allen for facilitating that, as he always does. That took place at the training building at the fairgrounds, and there were several deputies that successfully passed the Indiana Law Enforcement Training Board Academy fitness standards. They included Captain Derek Allen, Sergeants Adam Hannon and Scott Boswell, Deputies Keith Wilson, Evan Doporowski, David Grimberg, Derek Deck, Jim Fish, Jonathan Samuelson, Dan Kessling, Josh Smith, and Jail Deputy Austin Apple. Really pleased that they went out and they did so well and they continue to train. I'll also point out that we're pleased with the usage of our wellness center in the old 911 center that was donated to us, the equipment in there. And I've noticed that there's a little bit of falling off with the summer months. There were a lot of people that have previously been using the Stairmaster and that type of thing so they could get an aerobic workout. But I also noticed I've gone down there a number of times when it's been raining out. We've had a lot of rain, and the usage increases with the rain that we've been having because we have a lot of employees that enjoy going down there and walking using that equipment.
Is this physical agility testing, is that done annually, John? Or
it's actually done biannually.
Biannually?
Yes.
And it's strictly volunteer?
Yes, it is. Yep. We are subscribing to a shift-level tabletop exercises that's going to be facilitated by our individual shift supervisors. The trainings include responses to events such as armed robberies, active shooters in school or industrial settings, bomb threats, domestic disputes, large disturbances at extracurricular events in schools, shooting at a bar, an extremist group rally, train derailment with a hazmat release, a child abduction, bank robbery, and a disturbance with a person with a mental illness at a doctor's office. Each scenario is designed to last for between 60 and 90 minutes, and IELEA in-service continuing education credit will be given, and the training modules are being obtained by Vertex Tactical, which is a Porter County-based company. It's the same individual and same company that did our Safe Schools tabletop exercise last year in Michigan City and did our mock shooting at LaPorte High School, mock active shooter here in LaPorte, in which all LaPorte County emergency responders were involved in. There were some great testimonials that we got from this company from other police agencies, specifically Porter County. I reached out to them because they do it, and they're very, very pleased with these tabletops. What's nice is a shift supervisor can reach out to a shift and say, all right, I'd like 6 of you on station, and we're going to do a tabletop exercise. They can pick any of these exercises, and they can work on it in the conference room, actually at that table, and they can talk about how they would react, how they would deploy manpower, what kind of tactics that they would use, what kind of resources that they may need, and that will prepare them if in the eventuality that we have something like this. And it's nice that they can do it at that shift level while they're working, and so we don't have to incur overtime for it as well. If we like this package of scenarios that we get, we're looking at getting the similar type of package of scenarios for a jail where they could do tabletops at a shift level back in the jail as well. So it's something that we're really excited about, something that we've never done before, but we're kind of thinking outside the box and utilizing some nearby resources for us. But the owner of the company will come in and he'll actually train the shift supervisors so they can facilitate this.
And how often will you do this?
However often the shifts have the manpower to do it and feel that it's necessary. So with 12 scenarios, they could potentially do one a month. There's no time limit as to when it needs to be done. It's unlimited, but it really depends. I see that this could be something that could really be utilized maybe at the beginning of the year when the shifts are at full complement and we don't have as heavy a call volume as we might have during the summer months. Prom season has concluded, and there were no major issues countywide with any students. We are now into graduation season, and all of LaPorte County law enforcement have a zero tolerance for underage possession and consumption of alcohol and drugs. This is something we talked about at our staff meeting yesterday, but we certainly have a heightened sense of awareness, and we have been making, specifically in the midnight shift, Captain Heine can attest to this, that we have been making a number of underage consumption arrests, and it's something that we're not going to tolerate. We're also targeting those that are providing alcohol to minors also. On May 15th, the South Central Community School Corporation hosted their annual Law Enforcement Appreciation Breakfast for all of law enforcement in the county, and we're really honored that each year the students host this, and many of our deputies attend. It really is a nice breakfast and an open house for us, and they present us with quite a bit of artwork, and they sit with us and eat breakfast with us, and it really is neat, and the staff really enjoys it as well down there. So it's just another appreciation that we have from our community that feel strongly about the relationship, the positive relationship that they have with law enforcement. We do have a couple of emails and letters of appreciation. And the first one is one that had gotten mixed up last month, if you remember, in the stack of agendas that went out. But it is an email from Officer Combs in the Kingsford Heights Police Department. And it was written on April 29th, and it says, Sheriff Boyd, I wanted to take a second to give a pat on the back to a couple of your deputies. Last night I was called for a suspicious male on US 35 in Kingsford Heights. The subject ended up having a knife and holding it to his throat. Deputies Wells and Kessling arrived a short time later. With their help, we were able to get the individual disarmed and safely taken to the hospital. I know oftentimes things like this go unnoticed, but I was really impressed with these two deputies. I'm aware that they are newer officers, and they did a really nice job of keeping their heads on straight and executing the plan that we came up with. This may not seem like a big deal, but I just wanted to pass it along to you and express my gratitude. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and have a great day. Sincerely, David Combs, Kingsford Heights Police Department. We were really pleased when I received this. I immediately reached out to those two deputies as well as their supervisors and forwarded this email. And it's always nice hearing this. It's something that we had suspected, that they keep their head and they have a calm demeanor about them. And I'm really pleased that they were able to disarm him and get a successful resolution without anybody getting hurt, including the suspect. That's always our goal. And unfortunately, you don't hear about this kind of thing in the media. But if the suspect would have been hurt, it probably would have been headlines. It would have been the lead story in the news that someone was hurt at our hands. But I'm really pleased with them, and this email actually had gone into their permanent personnel file as well. The next is an email of appreciation from LaPorte County Emergency Medical Services, thanking Deputy Ryan Alcock for assisting with a recent call for service with an unconscious patient who was transported to the hospital. And this is written from Ryan Ratzine, who's an emergency medical technician with EMS. He says, on Medic 3rd, as well as Springfield Township and Center Township Fire Department, responded to an injury call for an unconscious person at the above address, which was on 700 North. And for privacy matters, I won't give the address. As we arrived on scene of what became a significant trauma, the patient was unconscious, and Springfield Township Fire first responders were treating the patient and were being assisted by Deputy Alcock. Throughout the call, Deputy Alcock was a tremendous help in many ways, and he went above and beyond to assist the flow of the overall scene and patient care. Deputy Alcock also ran ahead of the ambulance en route to the hospital, blocking a number of intersections. Springfield Township Fire Department members even commented to us that Deputy Alcock had asked them what he could do to assist them the minute he came on scene, and he began gathering patient information and background from bystanders. There have been numerous times that I've witnessed the same actions from this deputy on our scenes, and I want to take an opportunity to recognize his actions and let Sheriff Boyd know, as well as Deputy Alcock, how much we appreciate it. This is really high praise coming from LaPorte County EMS, but I'd also like to point out that Deputy Alcock is a former emergency medical technician, worked for an ambulance service, so his previous medical training came in to play here, but I'm not surprised by this. He's one of those that goes above and beyond. You don't have to direct him. You don't have to instruct him what to do. He just gets it done, and we're really pleased that they noticed that it made their job a lot easier. We're glad that we have that partnership with EMS and the various fire departments in the county. And finally, something that didn't make the agenda, because I just received this letter this morning from the Indiana Department of Transportation, but it's a letter from the Finance Controller and Budget Director with INDOT, and he wanted to write us to thank the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office specifically for our agency's involvement in the State of Indiana Property Cost Recovery Program. And it's a system that if piece of highway equipment, such as a guardrail, a sign, any type of roadway traffic control device is damaged, we merely place a tag on it and we reflect an incident report that had been generated by that, and we're an active participant in the program, and the state of Indiana wanted to let us know how much they appreciate. And as a result of this law enforcement program in the state of Indiana, it's actually saved the state of Indiana $7 million because it actually connects Department of Transportation with a person who may be responsible for that damage. For instance, if someone runs over a stop sign and maybe it was an accident, they didn't mean to do it, we get called to the scene or we happen by the scene and we see the individual who's responsible for that, we make an incident report, we tag that sign, there's a tag that the state provides us with an incident report number, and then the state of Indiana, they go out and they replace that, but then they bill the insurance, they bill the person who's responsible for that, so the taxpayers don't have to pay for the replacement of that. They actually get reimbursed for that. And the state's really pleased with this program, and they're pleased with our involvement, and they recognize that we're one of the leaders with this program in the state. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, that this is something that our guys, we've instructed them over the years to actively get involved in this, and they have. So we're pleased that we're able to save the taxpayers some money. I'd like to point out that the next Merit Commission meeting is Thursday, July 11th, and that'll be a 9 a.m. meeting. And you'll see that the Warrants Division report, the jail report, and the Investigative Division report, monthly report, is also included. And you can take a look at those reports. I know you read them, but you can see exactly how busy we are. We are very, very busy. We're barely keeping our head above water. And, we're at the mercy of the calls for service and the people that need our help. And we're always there for them. And we never close. We don't have the luxury at 10 o'clock of, well, we don't have anybody available. We're always sending someone, and we're one of the few agencies in the county that can say that we're open all the time and we never turn anybody away. I'm really proud of the working conditions that our deputies face every day, yet they go out with a smile on their face, and we get a lot of compliments from the public that we serve.
Thank you, Sheriff. Are there any comments from the floor? Comments from the floor? Captain I, you don't want to add anything? You're good? Okay, seeing no, comments from the floor is closed. Comments from the board, Mr. Kluge?
Not at this time.
Ms. Mock? Ms. Franciconi? Okay. A couple things. Sheriff, I was at the last commissioners meeting and just wanted to make it be noted that you did get the contract approved, I believe, for the security at the fair again this year?
Yes.
Okay. Also want to mention we're right on the threshold of the promotional process for the Sheriff's Department. The oral interviews, we did some switching around, and this came as a result of our exit interviews 2 years ago. So we're going to be doing the oral interviews prior to the written test. So those oral interviews, we've set the date for September 24th and 25th. We will be posting those scores as soon as we have an opportunity to get them typed so that they're legible. My handwriting is rather questionable, so we'll get those typed and get those posted, I would hope within a day or two, if not sooner. The other thing that the Merit Commission will do is, once again, we will open up a one-day period of time so that anyone who came before us on an interview, if they want to come back in and talk to us about their interview, so that we can critique it a little bit. Our purpose is to help people get promoted, and if we can do that by being as transparent as we can, give them some suggestions or whatever. I know we did this 2 years ago, and it was extremely beneficial. We got some great ideas from some of the applicants. I think we gave them some answers to some questions that they had. So we're going to continue with that again this year. So as soon as we can get a date set for that, we will make that known to the department as well.
Thank you.
And that is all I have. Anyone else have anything then? Okay. Hearing none, to have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Meeting adjourned at 1:45 p.m. Thank you.